Well, Tituss Burgess, it would not be Emmy season if we didn't get a chance to talk to you.
Well, thank you very much.
I got one word for you to start things, and that's lemonades.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
What is it like when you're getting scripts from week to week? And I believe that was the second episode, but you get a script like that. I guess they deliver it to you, and you look at it and go, wow.
Sure. Well, a lot of times we get the scripts inside filming the previous episode, so you don't have a lot of time to look at it or process it. But Tina called and Jeff called and said, we had some music we need you to learn, and you can come in a little early. So I got there and I was like, oh, this rhyming scheme looks an awful lot like Beyonce, but I didn't think anything of it. So I skimmed the script and I thought, oh, shit. It was so gargantuan, so Herculean, and so detailed. It was a little intimidating, if I be perfectly honest with you. Not because I thought I had to fill anyone's shoes or anything like that, but I've never. That was the first episode where I thought Titus was his most vulnerable. It was the first time for him to go to such extreme measures to demonstrate the gravity of his hurt, and to do that by way of eliminating or what have you, showed that he cared very deeply for Michael. And I think that was the first time we've seen the underbelly of this sort of crusty veneer that he often portrays. And I just wanted to make sure that the balance of funny with the funny lyrics, but with the heart, and then with the actual storyline, with him bidding Michael adieu for now, was met. The balance was met, and that all parts were tended to equally. So it was a lot.
Yeah, that's a real growth for Titus the character, not Titus the person. The early version of him that we would have seen would have not been able to make a conscious decision like that, a really emotional decision like that, I don't think.
No, it was a very selfless thing for him to do. Titus has always put Titus first. Titus is always looking out for Titus. And at first, when we started the show, that was kind of hard for me to digest because I didn't want to play an outright asshole. But when I look back at his backstory and how late he came out, and oftentimes when people come out of the closet so late in the game, other would-be character traits would have sort of ironed themselves out by then. And I think he had a long way to go. He had some catching up to do. And not that I'm condoning his behavioral patterns, but I certainly understand how he is perceived to be selfish at times. That said, it was a lot for him to let Michael go, Mikey. It was a lot for him to being someone's first is a lot, as he says, and he could have been selfish there again, and gotten used to the familiarity of a new relationship, gotten used to the comfort of a relationship. But Mikey had a lot of growing to do, and it's funny that Titus set someone free to grow when that's the very thing that he's been trying to do since the show's been on air. So it was a beautiful, complex, multi-leveled, multi-tiered thing to play. And I thank you, Tina and Robert. Thank you.
Well, now thinking back, I think Kimmy has had a big impact on Titus. When you say being roommates, her character traits, her overly nice qualities may be rubbing off on him.
Yeah, Kimmy, of all the people who should have a sour disposition, a less than sunny outlook on life, it should be her. And what's so beautiful about this sort of dark story, not sort of, this very dark story, is someone choosing to see the glass half full. And I think Titus is at first reluctant to, I don't want to say buy into it, but to test it out, to see if, because he's been disappointed so many times before, so many failed relationships, so many jobs not had, so many gigs having fallen through. But slowly but surely she chips away at that crusty veneer of his. And I think midway through season 3, he kind of has no other choice but to start to see things her way, and to sort of give over to the idea that the world doesn't revolve around one person, and he needs her. And it's so lovely to see him need someone and to admit it in his own roundabout way. And it doesn't help that it's my girl, Ellie. So.
Yeah, it seems like when I've seen the two of you in person, or certainly on the show itself, it seems like that's a relationship that's also built off camera.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. She is, I know I say this every year, but I've learned so much from her. She's been so generous, and I would not have the playing field that I've been afforded were it not for her generosity, her comedic timing, and her desire to just make the scene good, make the scene funny. And I feel so lucky.
We interviewed Tom O'Neill, our website founder, and I interviewed Tina a few weeks ago, and he brought up the idea that he came up with, but Tina sort of agreed with it, that you are the new Lucille Ball of, or the new Lucy Ricardo, let's put it that way, because you're Titus is over the top and always trying to get into show business. I think he was bringing it up from that perspective. What do you think about that analogy?
That's a tall order. What do
She said she had heard so many comparisons to Lucy and Lucy Ricardo over the years. Everybody from Carol Burnett to on and on. She said, I never would have imagined the next Lucy would be Tituss Burgess.
Yeah, sure. Well, I guess my answer is first, that's very flattering. I guess an actor is only as funny as the material he gets, or she gets. So while I would love to bask in that and just agree outright, it takes a small village to make Titus Andromedon funny. And I never set out to be a comedic actor. That was not the thing. So to be likened to her, it's quite an honor. I don't even know how to respond to that.
But did you hear from Beyonce's camp at all about that episode?
Oh, I should be so lucky. No, around that time, of course, she was giving us Sir and Rumi. We're about to bring them into the world. So I've not heard from her, but I don't, it's okay. And I never anticipated that she would, just maybe her circling my house now, you hear the helicopter. I never anticipated that she would reach out. I like to think that she's perhaps seen it. I know a lot of people who are close to her. So in my own little way, I feel like she's gotten wind of it, but no, I've not heard from her.
Well, you had such a great season overall. I want to ask you about the cruise ship episode. Maya Rudolph has begun.
You want to ask me about the cruise?
The cruise ship episode that Maya Rudolph was on playing Dionne Warwick. That was an amazing episode.
Yeah, what about it?
Tell me more about that one and working with Maya.
Oh my goodness. Well, when I read the script, Tina said that I've written this role for Maya, and I just well, first of all, I have long since, pardon me, been a fan of Maya Rudolph, and she's just sort of a chameleon. She can do anything, and she just sort of gets lost. She disappears into characters. So, I was excited to work with her. Of course, stepping into they already have this sort of chemistry, this thing that they have even predating SNL, and so I was interested to see how I might jump into that or augment that, or I'm not an improver. I didn't go to any of those fancy schools that they all went to, so that was a little intimidating because I say what's on the page, and don't I hate when a director's like, just do one for yourself. I'm like, for myself? Write me another line and I'll do it. But she was so warm. She was so collaborative. She worked sans ego and just so doggone funny. And that was a treat. That was a real treat. I think that's one of the rare moments all of Kimmy has been beautiful, but that was like a crash course in comedy. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Well, you always have great guest stars.
I thought Ray Liotta was so mean, and I thought he was not going to like me. I don't know where I got that from. But he was so down to earth, and he played that role just within an inch of its life. It was so funny. And by the end of it, we were just he was just teasing me. I'm always on my phone. Whenever they all cut, I'm on my phone or in my dressing room or playing the piano. And so he would just sort of chase me like, Titus, where are you going? Who are you talking to on the phone? Like he's like an uncle that I never knew I wanted. But it was great.
It's your third straight Emmy nomination, but you got something earlier this year you never had before. That was a nomination at the Screen Actors Guild. Tell me about getting that news and what that meant to you.
Yeah, sure. That was very special. As I said earlier, I never set out to be a TV star or anything like that. It was all theater. And to have my peers be so warm and welcoming and acknowledging my work, that in many, many, many ways is more gratifying than any of the other accolades. And to be in that company of men, like dear God, like I still pinch myself. I still feel like I don't belong, but that's a whole other story. But it was great. And that was the most fun. There was everyone that I ever wanted to talk to, speak to. I hold that one really close to my heart.
So hard to get in at SAG because there's only 5 slots and they combine lead and supporting for television.
Yeah. When I saw, what is it? Shameless. I forget my friend's.
William H. Macy.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Tambor. Just all of them. I just at first when I looked at it, it was just a little confusing. It just seemed it's like a notes swimming around on a page. Just I couldn't quite integrate it into my reality sphere, if you will. But it's pretty damn special, my man. And if nothing ever happens ever again, I feel so so lucky, so blessed to have had these experiences and to be mentioned in the same breath as these legends. So that was wonderful.
For the Emmys, it's your third straight time. Ellie didn't make it the first year, but she got to join you as a nominee last year and this year, and the show is up again. What kind of a celebration is the Kimmy Schmidt celebration at an event, either that before or after?
Well, it's gonna sound really boring, but everyone is so busy. Of course, Ellie has her child who just turned 1, which I can't believe, and I'm working on another thing, so we don't have a lot of opportunities to get together and pat each other on the back. So Emmy night is usually when we celebrate, whether we win or lose. But just being together and being able to recall the last season and throw back a glass of champagne together. That's special. We're not a big flashy bunch. We're not the the gals about town. We're kind of a low key crew. So it's we're kind of boring.
Oh, I doubt that. Hey, speaking of awards, I've mentioned this to you before in person, but for both prior seasons, you've won the Gold Derby Award for Best Supporting Actor. And I want to say, anytime I tell people that, they usually are aware of it. Tina was aware that she had won last year for guest actors. But this is thousands of people that just watch television like crazy. I think our people watch television more than Emmy voters do. So, you won twice. Don't want to spoil anything, but you're doing really well in voting for this cycle as well.
It doesn't go lost on me who this body of people are, and it is very flattering that you guys took the time to analyze the performance and watch the season. And I know that's what you guys do, but it doesn't go lost on me. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's thousands of people voting, not just the editors. One last thing I was going to ask you about. I want to put this out there just because I want it to happen. Lauren Michaels, SNL, Steve Higgins, if you're listening, this guy right here needs to be hosting SNL sometime this season. What would you do? What would you say if they came to you about doing that?
I would call Tina Fey, and she would have to be there with.
You would want her as a guest writer that week, correct?
I couldn't do that without her. I would be. It's the pressure is way too. I would happily welcome the challenge. However, I would need my fairy godmother writing the scripts that week. So, but I would do it. Bring it on. If that's what the people want, I'll do it.
I just think that would be phenomenal. Well, thank you so much. I know we're going to see you here in just a few weeks at one of the Emmy parties, as well as the red carpet and so forth. And I hope we see you backstage with a trophy in your hand. That would be amazing.
Thank you, man. That would be great. Thank you so much.